What's going on, everyone? It is transplanting season, and when transplanting season rolls around, gardeners all around the world write in with questions in regards to preventing mold and mildew with home remedies. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about 3 home remedies to preventing mold and mildew that you absolutely want to avoid if at all possible. Let's go. The first home remedy that I want you all to avoid, and this is going to come as a shock to all of you, and that is cinnamon. Why do I want you to avoid using cinnamon? Now, cinnamon is touted for its antimicrobial and antifungal properties. That's true, it absolutely is. But cinnamon, when seed starting, is kind of more or less, it's a band-aid on an already existing problem. The reason why I want you to avoid using cinnamon is because it prevents you from learning how to actually remedy the actual problem. You see, the mold and mildew that you're experiencing may be prevented by using cinnamon. There's certain anecdotal studies that have shown that it's completely pointless, it's completely useless. There are other studies that show that it is effective. However, what I would say is that the problem is that, okay, so for instance, when I was a kid, I ate a whole bag of candy, and my mom said, "Luke, you're gonna feel nauseous. You're gonna have the runs if you eat that whole bag of candy. I'm just warning you." But because my mom let me kind of self-regulate on my own, kind of learning by trial, thanks Mom, I ended up eating the whole bag of candy thinking, "Nah, you're probably fine." And the issue was that when I ate the full bag of candy, I did in fact have the runs. Now, obviously, you could say, well, just take Tums. Tums would fix your indigestion. Or you could take Pepto-Bismol. That might fix the runs. But what was the real cause of the runs? It's because I ate a whole bag of chocolate. So when you're watering your plants every single day and they have mold and mildew, you're not actually properly learning how to take care of your plants. And through this strange analogy, you've learned more about my childhood than most people have in several hours of talking about me. Because that's, I've learned so much from that analogy of just what is the actual problem, right? What is the actual cause? Because you could be creating all these Band-Aids, but they're not actual fixes, right? They're not actual life lessons that allow you to learn the real cause. What is the cause of the mold and mildew? It's too much water. And so by using cinnamon really just allows you to kind of accept those problems. And since they don't go away, you're inevitably going to have a very stressed and weak seedling despite the lack thereof of mold. Because the conditions that are allowing the mold are also the conditions that are going to allow for root rot. The mold isn't necessarily going to be killing your plants. The mold may hurt your plants, but it's not necessarily going to kill your plants. The moisture, the excess moisture is what is killing your plants. And so cinnamon is something that I would highly recommend avoiding, not because it doesn't work, but because, number one, it doesn't allow you to actually learn what the real cause and what the real cure for the mold and mildew is. It's not the cinnamon, it's the overwatering. The second home remedy that I want you to stay away from is actually one that I really, truly want you to stay away from. Yeah, cinnamon might not be the best thing in the world, but it's also not the worst thing in the world. It just prevents you from learning as a gardener. This second one, though, can actually harm your seedlings, but yet I see gardeners talking all about it, and that's using rubbing alcohol. Now, rubbing alcohol does, in fact, strip and denature the DNA from fungal spores. It absolutely can stop their development. The problem is that it can burn leaves. It can also, when put in the soil in high enough quantities, can actually also strip away and dehydrate sensitive root fibers. And your seedlings have very sensitive roots. The root system is not fully developed yet. And because, yes, rubbing alcohol does evaporate very fast, if it's put in heavy enough concentrations, can absolutely harm the roots and the leaves from your tender seedlings. The second reason why this really doesn't work, aside from the fact that you can actually kill your seedlings, is because it only affects surface level fungal spores. The surface level fungal spores that are showing themselves have deep roots. They're not really roots, it's known as hyphae. And essentially, this hyphae is the kind of the roots of the fungus, if you will, that goes deep down in the soil. And oftentimes, again, it's not the surface mold that you're worried about. It's the deep down damp mold that becomes a problem. The mold ends up choking off oxygen from the roots, really prevents them from breathing. And it also prevents the soil from exchanging nutrients and properly behaving the way that soil should. And because of that, it oftentimes will make an already bad problem worse by having that deep fungal colonization in your soil. And because spraying a denatured alcohol or like a rubbing alcohol on the surface of your seedlings can temporarily stymie the growth of some of your more surface level fungal spores, it has absolutely zero effect on the real problem, which is deep down in your trays. And again, how can that be fixed? By just watering less, by having the right type of soil that clumps together but not too much, but still is loose, well-draining, fluffy, and fertile, can greatly reduce the amount of water that's retained, and then by just watering less can really help to cut down on those mold and mildew spores that are colonizing your soil. And so absolutely, this is one that I would highly recommend sticking away from because it really can absolutely kill your seedlings. And the third and final remedy that I would love if it never surfaced again, but it probably won't be the end of this one. This is an old wives' tale. If I've ever heard of an old wives' tale, this is definitely one. My grandpa talked about this one. I've seen this one on blogs. I've seen this one on Facebook surfacing in recent weeks, and that is taking a pre-1975 penny and putting it in your trays. Now, this is crazy because while there is some very, very, very anecdotal evidence that shows that copper can inhibit the development of mold and mildew as well as algae spores or algae growth, it has absolutely no evidence when it comes to actual scientific trials. Now, the problem is that scientific studies will agree unanimously that copper, if you use like copper fungicide, or if you use copper as an algicide, copper can be an amazing preventative for those algae and fungal spores. And if you are seeing algae in your trays and fungus growing in your trays and mold being fungus, the rationale tracks. It makes sense. The problem comes down to the amount of copper that is stripped away, that is actually weathered away during that process. It's nowhere near enough to be effective. If you were to take a pre-1975 penny, there are Indian wheat pennies, the wheaty pennies, or the Indian head pennies, anything that is 100% pure copper. My grandpa would say he threw one in he had a whole jar of wheaty pennies, and he would throw one in every single tray. First of all, not only are wheaty pennies highly collectible, and so are Indian head pennies. They're worth way more than probably a little bottle of copper fungicide is. But on top of that, it just doesn't work. And I'm not here to say, okay, like, is it gonna hurt anything? No, it's definitely not. I'm not gonna pretend like it's gonna hurt something. But I'm also not going to sit here and advocate for it because it just doesn't work. I would tell you, I would bet this entire table of seedlings on any one of you, if you try it, it will not work. And that's because the rate at which the copper essentially is removed or stripped away from the overall penny itself, the surface area is just not large enough. There's no way. You could take a bunch of little copper wires, throw them in your soil. Not only are you going to risk getting those in your fingers, it's just not going to work. You have to have such incredibly fine particles like copper, dust, powder for it to even be remotely effective on algae and fungus in your soils. And so it's just one that it's just going to be a waste of time. And so I simply cannot advocate it. But I'll tell you what, I've seen so many people talking about it. It even goes as far as going even into the growing season. People will say, stick a penny or stick a copper wire through your tomato plant and it will be absorbed, the copper will be absorbed into the tomato plant, preventing it from blight, because blight is also a soil-borne fungus, and this is antifungal. It is just 100%. In fact, it's 150% bogus. It is absolutely not going to work. And because I don't want to see you waste time, and heck, I don't want to see you waste money, keep your weedy pennies for your coin collection and just keep them out of your seed starting trays. So those are 3 home remedies. I guarantee you, if the third one you've never heard of before, you have to like this video and you have to comment down below, I learned something new today, thank you, because man, oh man, I've seen this everywhere this time of year. It is just everywhere. And so I'm just glad I was able to help you out. Hopefully you will not use these 3 tips and tricks, because they are not tips and they are not tricks to preventing mildew and mold and algae growth. The real tip and the real trick is regulate your soil moisture, whether that be through getting higher quality soil. We've got videos on how to make your own or which ones we use. Either change the quality of the soil or regulate how much you're watering, or maybe you have to do both. Maybe you have to reduce your water and change your soil. And that is the real fix. That is the real solution to this problem. There is no reason to be reinventing the wheel. Algae, mold, and mildew like damp, cool, dark environments with organic material for them to colonize. It's that simple. You take away their environment, you take away their food source, where they're gonna go? They're not gonna be here. So as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow bigger. And as always, we'll catch you all on the next episode. Take care, grow bigger. See ya, bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, consider clicking this one. You'll probably enjoy it just as much. I wanna thank you for your viewership, because without it, this channel would not be as amazing as it is. Also, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It's free, and we upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. We also have vegetable seeds, fertilizer, or tools. If you need any of those, consider visiting MIgardener.com. Links will be in the description box below. We've got you covered. And as always, we'll see you all in the garden. Take care. Bye.